All right, let's dive into this world that Chris Wooding created.
Okay.
It's called Osea, and it's in his Darkwater Legacy duology.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about both of those books.
Sounds good.
And just to kind of set the scene a little bit for our listeners, it's a classic fantasy world.
Right. In the live phase.
With a twist.
Yeah. There's a grittiness to it.
Yeah.
It's got prophecies and magic and,
Right.
ancient swords.
Like all the things you want.
All that good stuff.
But it's a little more...
Yeah, a little more violent.
Yeah, a little more grounded.
Dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this world, Osea, is occupied by the Croton Empire.
Right.
And we are looking at this story through the lens of the Oseans, who are the people who are being occupied.
The occupied people, right.
And there's also the Fell folk. We'll talk about them a little bit later.
Yes.
But at the heart of it all is this Ember Blade.
Which is a legendary sword.
Kind of the,
a symbol of resistance.
Yeah, like Excalibur or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this legendary, almost mythical weapon that,
yeah.
It reappears and kind of sets things in motion.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we meet Arin.
Yes.
Who's our central character.
Or hero.
He is an Osean youth, but he's been raised in a Croton household.
Right, so he's kind of caught between these two worlds.
Totally, yeah, and it's not even just choosing a side, it's like internal,
He admires the Croton order and discipline on the one hand.
Yeah.
But he yearns for Osean freedom.
Yeah, and he's got this pull towards his...
Yeah, it's like internal struggle.
Yeah, his heritage, right?
Yeah.
And all of this kind of starts to come to a head when he starts digging into...
His father's death.
Yeah.
Like his father, Randall, died under very mysterious circumstances.
Right.
And the more he digs into it, he realizes that his dad was involved with the Osean Rebellion, which, really throws his world into chaos.
Yeah, like everything he thought he knew.
Yeah. He's got to question everything.
Yeah, about his father, about the Crotons.
Of himself, even.
Yeah, it's a real coming-of-age story, but
Yeah, it's a classic coming of age.
The weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah, but the fate of nations is at stake.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's not alone, though, right? He's got his best friend, Cade.
Cade, right. Good old Cade.
Tell me about Cade.
Cade is much more grounded.
Yeah, he's a little more pragmatic.
Much more pragmatic.
Yeah.
Less idealistic.
Aron's like, truth and justice.
Yeah, he wants to know the truth.
Yeah.
He wants justice. He wants freedom for his people.
Yeah.
Cade just wants to survive.
Yeah, he wants to get by.
Yeah, wants to get by. And that really...
But you can see how that creates some...
It's tension. Yeah.
Tension in their friendship.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they get into some increasingly sticky situations.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Fang.
The Fang, the Croton work camp. Yeah, tell me about the Fang.
So they end up there...
falsely accused.
Falsely accused of being rebel sympathizers.
Right.
And, they're imprisoned.
Yeah.
And they have to escape.
That's a real turning point for them, too, isn't it?
It is. It really forces them to confront their own values and loyalties.
Yeah.
And that's where they meet Garrick.
Garrick.
The leader of the rebellion.
He is so interesting, at least in the...
He's such an enigma.
Beginning.
Yeah, he's this tough, hardened figure.
Clearly haunted by his past.
Yeah, you can just tell he's got some baggage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we learn later that he actually has a connection.
Yeah.
To Arn's father, to Randall.
Right, yeah.
They were both Dawn Wardens.
Dawn Wardens.
The protectors of the Ember Blade.
Okay.
But something went wrong.
Went very wrong.
Very wrong between them.
And that's part of what Arin uncovers is that...
Yeah, he learns that his father...
His father betrayed...
Betrayed Garrick.
Garrick and the other Dawn Warden.
And the other Dawn Wardens, which led to their massacre.
Right, and the loss of the Ember Blade.
Yeah, so that's a lot for Arn to carry.
It's a lot to process. Yeah. So he's trying to earn the trust.
Yeah, I mean, Garrick despises Randall for what he did.
Yeah.
But you see this grudging respect developing between them.
As they're fighting side by side.
Yeah. As they're fighting the Crotons together.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about...
Well, we got to talk about the Ember Blade.
The Ember Blade itself.
Yeah.
It's not just a weapon.
It's a symbol.
It's this incredibly powerful symbol of hope.
Yes.
For the Osean people.
I love that scene where Arn sees it.
Oh, yeah. That's a great scene.
For the first time.
That everyone is just like...
Yeah, there's this reverence.
Yeah. It's more than just a...
Yeah, it's like, it represents the lost glory of Osea.
Yeah.
The potential for a future free from Croton rule. And then there's the prophecy surrounding it.
Oh, wow.
That adds a whole other layer.
The prophecy, it foretells a champion.
A champion who will wield the Ember Blade.
To liberate Osea. Yeah. And it's like, oh, Arin...
It's
like,
hard.
He's our guy, but...
But prophecies are rarely straightforward.
Yeah, especially in the fantasy.
Especially in fantasy.
Yeah.
There's always a twist.
For sure.
Or multiple interpretations, unintended consequences.
Yeah.
All that.
Speaking of twists.
Oh, yeah.
The massacre at Hallow Cove.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Tell me about that.
That's where the Croton Empire just wipes out a gathering of the Fell folk.
Yeah, so the Fell folk are...
Fell folk, these are nomadic Ashen clan.
Okay.
Who've been pushed to the margins of society by the Crotons.
Right.
And they represent this different way of life.
Okay.
They clash with the more settled Ossans.
Okay.
And the massacre just highlights the brutality of the Croton Empire.
It's horrific. It's awful, yeah.
And Arryn loses
friends, allies.
Yeah, it's a personal tragedy for him, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It fuels his anger against the Crotans.
Absolutely.
But it also forces him to really confront, like, okay,
the reality.
This is war.
This is war. This is what it looks like. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. And the escape from the Fang is...
another pivotal moment.
Another one. Yeah.
Desperate fight for survival.
Yeah.
It leads to some unlikely alliances.
Yeah.
You've got Grubb, the Scarl, who initially bullies Arryn in the work camp, and then he ends up being this key part.
Yeah, he helps them escape.
It's
like there's more to him than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then there's Vika.
Vika, the Druids.
She's fascinating.
She is. She's connected to these ancient spirits of Osea.
Okay.
Called the Aspects.
The Aspects.
Yeah, and her visions and prophecies that guide Arryn, Spider, and the others. Yeah, she's a powerful force.
She's powerful, yeah.
Remember that scene in the tunnels under Hammerholt?
Oh, yeah, when she fights off those Dread Knights.
The Dread Knights?
They're terrifying.
Like
supernatural warriors.
Yeah.
Serving some malevolent...
Okay, and then there's this theme of betrayal.
Oh, yeah. Betrayal is everywhere.
He's like, it's all...
throughout the whole story.
We talked about Randall's betrayal, but...
Right, but there are others.
Yeah, there are others, and it just shakes Arryn.
It really shakes him to his core.
Yeah.
Think about Cade's decision.
Yeah.
With the Ember Blade.
That was tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable why he did what he did.
Right.
He was desperate to protect Arryn, to survive.
Yeah.
But it had devastating consequences.
Yeah, it broke their friendship.
Yeah, it really tested Arryn's faith.
Yeah.
In the people he was close to.
It makes you think about loyalty. Like,
yeah, what does loyalty even mean?
Who are you loyal to?
Who are you loyal to? Your friend, your family, your ideals.
Yeah. And those choices.
They come at a price.
They do.
Look at Osmond and Herod.
Yeah.
Loyal members of Garrick's band.
Yeah.
They make the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, and they're not the only one.
No, there are a lot of losses.
Yeah.
In this fight.
And it just shows no one is safe.
Nobody's safe. Not even the bravest.
So we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We've barely scratched the surface.
In just the first book.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that have stood out far?
I think what's really striking is the way Wooding balances.
Yeah.
This grand epic fantasy.
Yeah.
With these really personal struggles.
Yes.
We're dealing with prophecies and magic.
Right.
But we're also exploring what it means to be human.
Yeah.
To face these difficult choices.
Yeah.
To deal with loss and betrayal.
Right.
And it's all set against this backdrop of a world that's fighting for its freedom.
So it's like even in this fantastical world, the human element.
It's the human element that really gets you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should take a moment.
Let's take a breath.
To breathe.
Gather our thoughts.
And then
dive into book 2.
We'll dive into book 2.
Where things get even more complicated.
It gets real.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, so in book 2, we find Arryn and his allies seeking refuge with the Fell folk.
Right.
After everything that happened at Hammerholt.
Right.
And these nomadic clans.
Yeah, they're a whole different
culture within Osea.
Yeah.
And their relationship with the Crotans has been,
less than ideal.
So
they're not exactly...
they're wary of outsiders.
Yeah.
Even those who share a common enemy.
Right.
Britta Blackfeather, she's a powerful Fell folk leader.
Yeah. She's skeptical of Arryn.
Yeah, I mean...
And his claims about the Ember Blade.
You can understand why she's been through a lot.
Absolutely.
And she's not just going to jump into someone else's fight.
No, she's a pragmatist.
Yeah.
She recognizes the threat the Crotans pose.
Right.
And she's willing to forge alliances.
Yeah.
If it means protecting her people.
Of course.
But she's also playing this delicate political game.
Right.
Within her own community.
So Arn's trying to...
Yeah, he's trying to unite them.
Unite the Fellfolk against the Crotans.
Against the Crotans.
He's also...
But he gets caught up.
In
their internal power struggles.
Yeah, it's a lot for him to handle.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot.
Especially with
his idealism.
His idealism and his lack of experience.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes.
He
stumbles.
Stumbles along the way.
Yeah, he's not a perfect hero.
No, he's not.
But, But
that's part of his growth.
That's part of his growth.
As
a leader, yeah.
He starts to understand the complexities of leadership.
Yeah.
The need for compromise.
The messy realities.
The messy realities of war.
Yeah, it's not all black and white.
No.
Like he thought.
Not at all.
At the beginning.
No.
And then there are more revelations about Randall.
Oh, yeah.
His father.
We learned he didn't just betray Garrick and the Dawn Wardens.
Oh, no.
He abandoned his own brother. Fluke, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that adds a whole other...
layer.
Layer of complexity.
Yeah, to Arn's family history.
Yeah. And it hurts those.
It hurts those who were closest to Fluke.
Yeah. And then there's Cade.
Oh, Cade.
Yeah, he's dealing with his own guilt.
Yeah.
For betraying Arn in the rebellion.
Right.
He ends up getting captured.
By the Crotans. And taken back to Crota. So they're separated.
Yeah.
And that puts a strain on their friendship.
Oh, yeah. Arn is furious.
He thinks Cade's chosen the enemy side.
Yeah, he thinks he's gone over to the other side.
But Cade, even though he's offered,
Yeah, they offer him a comfortable life.
Yeah, comfortable life in Crota.
But
he doesn't take it.
No, he remains loyal.
To
Arryn and to the Ossian cause.
It's like their friendship is being...
It's being tested.
Yes, but also
also strengthened.
Strengthened by...
In the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But all this is happening, and the Dread Knights are still out there.
Oh, yeah, they're not going anywhere.
And they're becoming an even bigger threat.
A bigger threat.
We learn more about their origins
Yeah.
and their powers and the force they serve.
The Outsiders.
Yeah. Who are they?
These beings of pure chaos and destruction.
Oh, wow.
They want to unravel the fabric of reality. It's pretty intense. Yeah.
And Vika believes that the only way to defeat them might lie in the Shadow Casket.
The Shadow Casket.
This mysterious artifact.
That's been mentioned in these ancient prophecies.
Right, but nobody really knows.
Nobody knows what it is.
Or how to use it. This big.
It's a big question mark.
Yeah. Hanging over everything.
But it's a key piece of the puzzle.
But it's also...
It could be dangerous.
Yeah.
It could unleash even greater horrors.
So the stakes are...
higher than ever. Yeah.
And the search for the Shadow Casket leads Arryn to Yaga.
Tell me about Yaga.
It's this distant land, shrouded in legend.
Okay.
A place where magic feels more potent. Ancient creatures roam.
Wow.
The line between reality and myth is blurred.
So it's like a whole other...
It's a whole other level of fantasy.
Yeah. What kind of challenges does Arryn face there?
I mean, he encounters strange creatures, ancient ruins, powerful sorcerers.
And his powers.
His powers start to manifest. More fully. Yeah, he's not just gaining strength, he's gaining insight.
Okay.
Yeah. But with those new abilities come new burdens.
Of course. Always a price.
Yeah,
he's haunted by visions of a dark future.
Okay.
A future where the Dread Knights win.
Where Osea falls.
And Osea falls to ruin.
And he's got this...
Yeah, there's this urgency.
Urgency to his quest.
Yeah.
It's like he's not just fighting for freedom now.
No, he's fighting to prevent...
This
catastrophic future.
Catastrophe.
Yeah.
And he's joined by...
He's got his companions.
Diverse group of companions.
Yeah, all with their own skills and motivations.
Right.
You've got Grubb, of course.
Yeah.
Who continues to be surprisingly loyal and resourceful.
Yeah, he's more than just...
Yeah, he's more than just comic relief. He brings a lot to the group.
Yeah.
And Fen, she really comes into her own.
In this second book?
Yeah. She's a skilled archer.
Yeah.
A fierce warrior.
But she's also struggling.
She's struggling with her own stuff.
Yeah.
Especially after her relationship.
With Edian.
Yeah.
Who's a Fellfolk warrior.
And he's killed in battle.
Yeah.
It's a devastating loss.
It really changes her. Yeah.
Yeah. It fuels her determination to fight.
Right.
But it also leaves her with this burden of grief and anger.
And her loyalty to the Fellfolk.
Yeah.
It kind of puts her at odds with Arryn, because they both want to liberate Osea.
Yeah.
But they have different
visions for the future.
Visions for what that looks like.
Yeah.
And it leads to
tough decisions.
Tough conversations.
Challenging conversations.
And a rift between them.
And it all culminates in
The Battle of the Fang.
The Battle of the Fang.
Which is like this
huge showdown.
Huge showdown.
Yeah, the Ossian rebels.
The Fell Folk.
The Fell Folk.
And the Croton Empire.
The full might of the Croton Empire.
Everyone is there.
Everyone's there. And it pushes everyone to their limit. Yeah, you see
bravery.
Bravery.
Losses.
Redemption.
Redemption, yeah.
It's a real climax.
So how does it all end?
The ending is, well...
It's not clear-cut victory.
It's not a clear-cut victory.
It's not a defeat either.
No, it's not a defeat. It's something in between.
Something in between.
Yeah.
That leaves you thinking about.
Yeah, it leaves you thinking about the future of Ossia.
And its people?
Yeah, there's a sense of hope.
Okay.
But also a sense of uncertainty.
Yeah. It's like...
It's not over.
It's not over.
No.
What happens next?
What happens next?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What were some of the things that...
Yeah, what surprised
you
in this second book?
Yeah, it's like, how do you even begin to rebuild after something like that?
Right. I mean, you've got these fractured alliances.
Yeah, the resentments.
Yeah, all these lingering resentments.
The potential for...
for new conflicts.
New conflicts to erupt.
To erupt, yeah. I mean,
especially with...
The Crotons might be gone from the Fang.
Right.
But they're still out there.
Their influence.
Yeah, their influence hasn't vanished.
It hasn't disappeared.
Not at all.
And what about...
And then there's the Fell Folk.
The Fell Folk.
I mean, they were a huge part.
Yeah, they were essential.
In the fight against the Crotons.
But their vision for the future...
Yeah, their vision might not exactly align
with the other
with the rest of the Ossians, right?
So can they really coexist?
That's the question.
After all this.
Yeah, I mean, their alliance was born out of necessity.
Right. They
had to overcome a common enemy.
Band together to survive.
Exactly. But now that immediate threat is gone, what happens? Can they find a way to build a lasting peace?
Or will those old divisions...
Yeah, will those old wounds reopen?
Yeah, and then there's the Shadow Casket.
Oh, right, the Shadow Casket.
Which we still don't really know.
It's still this big mystery.
What it is.
Yeah. Is it a weapon?
Is it a source of power?
Is it some kind of Pandora's box?
Right. It just feels like this...
It's this lingering...
regret, yeah.
A potential danger.
Yeah. He's at the center of it all.
He's been through so much.
Yes.
I mean, he's lost so much.
His father, his best friend.
Countless comrades.
He's been betrayed, imprisoned.
Forced to make these impossible choices.
And yet he's still standing.
He's still fighting.
He's still fighting for what he believes in.
Yeah, but he's not the same, Aaron.
No, he's not the same idealistic.
No, that idealism is gone.
Youth that we met at the beginning.
Yeah, he's been hardened by war.
Yeah.
Changed by loss and betrayal.
He's the leader of the prophecy foretold.
He is.
But at what cost?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you think about leadership.
Yeah, the toll it takes.
The sacrifices involved.
Yeah, can you really come out of something like that unscathed?
And it's not just Aaron.
No.
Garrick. Ben.
They're all dealing with that.
They're all grappling with those
same questions.
Yeah, same questions. Yeah.
They want justice.
Right.
But they've had to make compromises along the way.
Yeah, they've crossed lines they never thought.
Yeah, it makes you question.
It blurs those lines.
Yeah, it blurs the lines between good and evil.
Between hero and villain.
Right, and that's what makes it so compelling.
It's not simple.
No.
It's nuanced.
It's nuanced, it's complex.
And it makes those characters...
Makes them feel real.
More human.
Human. Yeah.
They make mistakes.
They have doubts, regrets.
And they keep fighting.
They keep fighting.
For a better future.
Yeah, and that's what matters.
So where does that leave us?
Well, I think it leaves us with this sense of hope,
okay,
but also a sense of responsibility.
Responsibility?
Yeah, it's a call to action.
To do what?
To engage with the world around us.
To fight for what we believe in.
Yeah, to never give up on the possibility of a better future.
And I think that's a good place to
wrap things up.
Wrap things up, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've reached the surface of this deep dive into the Darkwater Legacy duology.
It's been a journey.
It has. But before we go,
yeah,
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
What do you think the future holds for Ossia, for our...
What choices will they have to make?
What sacrifices will they make?
We've explored the story together.
But the journey doesn't end here.
No, it doesn't.
Pick up the books, dive into this world yourself.
Keep exploring these questions.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.
Keep questioning.